Hi there. Thanks for joining the call today. This is Don Lloyd with the Bakken team. And the reason you're here is because we have an incredible opportunity for a limited number of savvy real estate investors in a part of the country where jobs outnumber the population. I know that's kind of hard to imagine, but in North Dakota, that's really true, as you'll see. In the presentation today, I'm going to talk about the housing shortages, the housing shortage itself, and why there is a housing shortage, and how you can create wealth in a healthy real estate environment. Uh, as with all real estate investing, or all investing period, there's risk. The goal, however, I think you would agree, is to limit that risk. And I think after you've seen the information, that you'll agree with me that the risk is manageable and it is palatable. It's going to go down really easy because the returns are just really, really good, and the downside is kind of shallow. First, I want to start off with a disclaimer to make the attorneys happy. The purpose of this information is educational only. Any financial information presented here is for example purposes only. The ideas and opinion expressed are those of yours truly. And understand, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a tax expert, I'm not an investment advisor. And if you have any questions about legal questions or tax questions, then you should talk to your attorney or tax expert or your investment advisor. We've made every attempt to present factual information, and we've got that information from what we deem to be reliable sources, but there's no guarantee to its accuracy or its completeness. So it's on you to do your due diligence. And I want you to understand very clearly there is risk associated with any investment, and you're encouraged and advised to do your own due diligence and seek appropriate counsel. Alrighty, there's no guarantees here at all we're offering. And having said that, I want to introduce North Dakota. The biggest housing shortage in the United States really has created a huge opportunity for real estate investors, and there are tremendous opportunities in North Dakota because of the Bakken oil fields. And I think this information is really going to knock your socks off. We're going to show you during this the next several minutes how you can position yourself for financial gain and for wealth building in the fastest growing area in the United States. Um, a lot of wealth has been created in real estate by those who actually put themselves in the path of early growth, or I should say growth early on in the process, when there's an explosive market going on. And where is this? It's in North Dakota. Here you see a map of the United States, and right up here in the northern part is North Dakota, just below that South Dakota, and that's where we're talking. There's a huge oil field up here, and we're going to be talking about that. And here we go again. Here's another little picture. Williston is about 20 miles from Montana. Here's Montana, Sidney, Montana sits down right about here. And here's Williston, and it's about 50 miles to the Canadian border. I've actually spent some time in Williston, as I'll talk to you about it as we go through. And they're coming to North Dakota literally by the thousands. That is not an exaggeration. They're coming by the thousands. In some of these pictures here, you see trucks lined up. All these are trucks related to the oil industry or construction of some kind. Look at all these trucks lined up here. I mean, this is not an unusual sight for North Dakota. Here's another picture. Look at these trucks all lined up here. There's a truck coming on here. And it's just not for men. We got women working up here as well. We've got women working in the oil fields and oil-related industries. All right, there is no shortage of jobs. I mean, we're not just talking the oil fields. We're talking about employers who supply or who support the oil field workers. There's just no shortage of jobs. In 2013, the employment rate in December 2013 for the whole state was like 2.6%. That's for the whole state of North Dakota. And Williston itself, as we're going to see, was just a hair over 0.05. In other words, less than a half of 1%. While the United States as a whole had an unemployment rate of 6.7. Anyway, help wanted signs are everywhere. If you want to get a clue to that, there's a little paper called The Shopper Inc. You could do a little Google search on that, The Shopper, and it's a little throwaway paper, nickel ad type thing. And they got page after page after page of help wanted. In fact, that is the help wanted page. If you go to the help wanted page in the local paper, it's very minimal. But there in the Shopper, they've got page after page after page of help wanted ads. Anyway, there many jobs up there can't be filled due to the shortage of workers. And because there's so many workers up there, there's so many people have moved up there. There's a huge housing shortage. In this graphic here, you see what they call man camps. You see this over here where I've got over here. That's where my cursor is highlighting. That's a man camp. This is a man camp right up here. This is another form of man camp. Just to get people temporary housings, they got modulars going up, they've got mobile homes going up, they got campers, they got man camps, they got all kinds of things to get these guys into a decent housing situation, so they got a place to live. Some of the big oil companies have actually gone and have purchased existing apartment buildings, gave everybody in there their notice, and then move their own people in. And I know that because I've actually sold homes to people up there who lived in apartments and had to move because an oil company bought them out and evicted them. Anyway, there we go. So there is a huge housing shortage there. This is another view of man camps. This is another basic view of a different man camp. And there are a lot of little man camp type things like this right here. You see where my cursor's going over here, where a person might have an acre or whatever, and he might just say, okay, I'm going to make a spot for 3 or 4 or 5 homes. And that might cost you, I don't mean homes, I mean talking about RVs, trailers, campers, that kind of thing. In this picture, you see 1, 2, 3, you see 3 RVs, or I should say, well, I think that's a 5th wheel. There's a trailer. There's a trailer, and a spot like that, even with no sewer, no water, could cost you $1,000 a month up there. Anyway, the interesting thing about man camps and this type of thing is according to the February 13th, 2014 version of the news up there. There's been a moratorium extended. Williams County, that's where Williston is, extended the moratorium on man camps. There's got to be man camps all over the place up there. And so anyway, they're kind of shutting those down. Not shutting them down, but they don't want any more in. And right now, North Dakota is seeking 20,000 new workers. Right now, this is March 18th. 2014. If you're looking for a job, you can go up there and get it. It's so good up there, it's unbelievable. They're begging for people to go to work up there. Many companies will fly a guy in to work 2 or 3 weeks, fly him home for 2 or 3 weeks, and then fly him back out. It's amazing. They're just spinning over backwards to get people up there. By the way, if you know anybody that needs a job, there's no reason for them to be unemployed. There's work up there. A lot of businesses will provide temporary housing so they can stay there till they get settled and find a place to bring their families. And they're coming from all over the country up there. And this is an incredible opportunity for investors. It's the largest home shortage in the United States. Most of the RV spots around there go from $1,000 to $1,200 a month. That's just for a parking space. That's when you bring your own place to live. Just a parking space. The highest migration in the United States has really caused an unprecedented massive shortage of housing in this area in North Dakota. Uh, many of these folks don't have a place to bring their families. In fact, that's one reason a lot of people don't come. Hotels basically have no vacancies. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but the oil companies pretty well have the motel rooms booked up for their people. Uh, Apartment complexes are full. RV parks are popping up everywhere just to get it. In fact, up until recently, people were staying in the parking lot at Walmart. The city just put a stop to that. But they were, I mean, it looked like the grapes of wrath for a little period of time there. Yep, something popped up there. Let me get rid of it. So investors have an opportunity to help provide housing, and in the process, they are going to profit handsomely by doing that. But why are they coming? Well, because they found billions and billions of barrels of oil in North Dakota. Remember the old Jed Clampett and Granny and Daisy May and all? You remember I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Clampetts or not, the Beverly Hillbillies, but that's pretty well what's going on up there. They found oil up there, and a lot of folks that kind of look like that, farmers up there, are now sitting pretty, and they're building big homes, and they're taking vacations and retiring. In fact, many have like in this particular letter, says a new black gold rush is underway, this time in North Dakota. The potential payoff is huge, up to 100 billion barrels of oil, and that's twice the size of Alaska's reserve. And that was in 2008. See that date? 2008. Since then, they found a whole lot more. And in 2008, they said there were a billion. They found more oil. Now the Energy Information Administration estimates that there are 503 barrels of oil in what they call the Bakken Basin. And this is really a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of folks. Uh, uh, I mean, men and women are coming from all over the country. And the reason they're doing that because they can't find work in their home state, but there is a job for everyone who's willing to work, and salaries could top $100,000. I have actually spoken and qualified folks out to buy homes, young guys who are making $120,000 a year. We're talking guys in their 20s. They're doing it by working in the oil field. And here you see a couple of shots of those guys working in the oil fields. All right, this is where it is. This is the Balkan. Uh, this is North Dakota, Montana, and Canada. This thing is the size, almost the size of, uh, of the state of Texas. That's how large this is. And Williston, right here, is the center of this whole thing. This is where all the major oil companies have headquartered. Almost all the work comes out of here. Most of the drilling is done in this area right here. And interestingly, in 2008, when they started this, they thought for every 160 acres, every section, they would get one oil well per section for every 160 acres. And then they found more oil. And they said, well, we can get 2 per section. And then they found more oil. And anyway, to make a long story short, they're now saying they can get 4 wells per 160 acres. And now, so in the next few years, they're going to put in 5,000 new oil wells. That is a ton of work. That is a ton of work. And it's all happening up here in North Dakota. Here's another shot of it. These are counties. These are county lines here. Williston is in Williams County. McKenzie County has Watford City. If you do a research on this, Watford City is going to show up. Dickinson's going to show up. Williston's going to show up. And even over here in Sydney, Montana, you're going to find some stuff. But the bulk of it is done right here. Right here. There's some stuff done in Mount Rail and Dunn counties and all this. But this is right here is the core area where it's done. All right. Okay. And you say, well, who's there already? Well, here's who's there. ConocoPhillips is there, huge company. Hess is there. ExxonMobil, Marathon, Kodiak. These companies have excellent location in productive oil fields, and they've been producing oil profits for years. These guys know what they're doing. Continental Resources is there. Uh, anyway, the major players are up there in North Dakota, and so are a lot of other companies. Here's a list of other active companies in the Bakken Shale play. As you can see, it's pretty extensive. And one thing they all have in common, all these people, or excuse me, all these companies are hiring people, hiring drivers, or hiring people to work in the fields, or hiring administrative staff, and that means that these people have to have a place to live. There are man camps available. There are fewer slots available in people's yard. I have a friend up there that's got a 8-acre lot, and I think he's got, in addition to his home, he has plowed out a way to put 4 mobile homes, or to put 4 RV homes in there, and people bring their RV, they set them up, and they live there, and he gives them a power cord, and they hook up the power cord, and anyway, but they got to have a place to live. All these people have to have a place to live. There are approximately 503 billion barrels of oil in the Bakken Basin. A resource base worth more than $5 trillion, 5.3 trillion. The Bakken is considered one of the largest, and possibly the largest, continuous hydrocarbon accumulation in the world. And capital is coming in from all around the world. It's even coming in from Europe and Asia and China. It's coming in from all over the place. And this is kind of a dated thing here, and it's been greatly upgraded since then. But let's just take a look here. In 2008, it took off. 150,000 barrels of oil per day. It's a BOPD. Were being produced back then. By 2011, North Dakota was pumping 618,000 barrels a day from about 3,000 wells. And oil production increased over 400% in about 3 or 4 years. And Goldman Sachs expects the Bakken to peak 2 billion barrels a day. 2 billion barrels a day. But that's not going to happen until 2023. And what does that tell us? That tells us that we have a window of opportunity here, that this thing is going to continue to grow for the next several years. To get there, they figure that the annual production growth will average about 130 to 210 barrels a day. Oppenheimer calls the Bakken crude one of the purest oil plays because it's comprised of 90% oil and about 10% natural gas. So I mean, there's a ton of oil up there. This is not a fly-by-night thing. This is not something that's going to be good for 2 or 3 years. It's there for a while. And as a result of all the influx of people coming in, real estate prices are taking off and going there. When we first went there and set up our first model home, I think we got a lot for 10 or 15,000, and then the next one we got was 20, and then 40, and I think the lot's now going for much more than that. I don't know what they're going for, to tell you the truth. But there's tens of thousands of newcomers, thousands of new jobs. There's new tax revenue. There's soaring real estate prices. This is the beginning of a major growth cycle for cities that are strategically located in the Bakken. And because housing is scarce, rent is high. Do you see this picture of this apartment building? When it was, that's a new apartment building. When it was under construction, before it was completed, I think it was about framed if I remember right, the thing was already leased. It was leased out, and the rent is the highest in the country for a little one bedroom apartment. It was almost $2,400 a month. $2,400 a month. These things rent almost as quickly as they go up. And in fact, it's the most expensive place in the country to live. Look here, this is the Business Insider for February 13, 2014. It says these 10 cities top the list with average monthly rents for entry-level apartments. Look at this: Williston, North Dakota, almost $2,400 a month. Whoops, let me go back there. Got ahead here. All right, $2,400 a month. That's more expensive than San Jose, more expensive than San Francisco, more expensive than New York City, more expensive than Boston. Little town in North Dakota, Williston, North Dakota, where a 700 square foot, one bedroom apartment will rent for $2,400 a month. Truly amazing. According to the Washington Post, the economy is so good in North Dakota that it's almost like a different country from the rest of the country. All right. The employment rate for the state, this was back in 2012, was 2.6%. Well, if you remember back in 2012, I think the unemployment rate was at 8% nationally. But it's 2.6 for the state. In Williston, as we're going to see in a little bit, is just a hair over a half of 1%. Well, how long is it going to last? That's the question. It's going to last 2 years, 3 years. If it was 2 or 3 years, you don't want to get involved in it probably, because you want to be able to go in, take advantage of the tax structure, and make some money and get out. You want to have an exit strategy. You don't want to go in there as an investor. My view of an investor, you want to go in with an exit strategy in place. You want to get in, you want to make your money, and then you want to get out before it starts going the other way. Leave a little bit on the table for other people who might want to bite off a little more risk. And anyway, you get in, you get out. How long is it going to last? Well, the American Enterprise Institute in 2013 said that this boom might last for 100 years. All right. Dr. Mark Perry, who's a professor of economics at the University of Michigan, he says down here that it might last, I think he said 30 years. You got a 30-year window of opportunity. All right. The Bacon oil well has an average lifespan of 29 years and generates $22 million in profit over its lifetime. So, how long is it going to last? A lot of years, 25, 30 years. So if you get in with a 3 or 4 or 5 year plan, you'll be doing really well. You could probably have a 10-year plan if you wanted to. Okay, and let me go back up here. Darn it. Let me go back up here. There we go. The heart of this oil boom in North Dakota is Williston, North Dakota. And if you look out here, it doesn't look like this is more expensive to rent than New York City, does it? It doesn't look more expensive than San Francisco, but it is. It is. And by the way, this is a beautiful shot of this. You'll notice the absence of trees here. This is considered the Plains. The Plains Indians were down through here. Lewis and Clark, you see this river running through here, back behind the oil well. That's the Missouri River. Lewis and Clark floated down that thing. And anyway, it's flat up there, pretty much flat, and not many trees. I mean, you're going to see some more pictures in a minute, and you're going to see that the trees that are the trees that are there were planted by somebody, because it's not natural for the area. But anyway, this is a picture of Williston. This is a downtown area. Yeah, well, you can look at them and just kind of see what it looks like. You know, it's a nice city. It's a clean city. It does get chilly there in the wintertime, but it does all over the north. Anyway, here we go. And here's some other pictures of. Here's another picture. By the way, you see this truck right here? This is a common scene in Williston. This is downtown Williston. This truck is filled with potassium carbonate. It's used in the fracking process. And Williston has skipped the recession entirely. As of December 13th, unemployment was 0.06%, and the rest of the country was almost 7 full percents. All right, so it's pretty amazing. And the mayor said that right now there are 2,000 to 3,000 job openings in Williston right now. He said By the way, as a footnote, San Francisco and Sacramento were both built during the gold rush. And how would you like to have been in San Francisco right at the beginning of the gold rush? That would have been a pretty exciting place to live, pretty exciting place to make the money. The guys working out the field, some of them didn't make very much money. But the guys in San Francisco made a ton of money, and you could position yourself for this new oil boom, this new wealth. Population has exploded as oil has been produced. Population increase in the 10 fastest growing cities in the United States. Look at this. Williston, North Dakota is growing faster than any place else. Dickinson, just south of Williston, is growing at an annual rate of 4%. So within a few miles of Williston, you have two of the fastest growing little cities in the country. Building permits are on the increase. And by the way, the building permits, as we're going to see in just a second here we go. City of Williston. Now this is just for the city itself. Notice how from 2003, this is the total number of building permits. Notice 27, 32, 52, 94. And notice down here, notice how quickly 2010, 688. And then just 3 years later, 1,700. Actually, 2012 was 1,800. And now almost 1,700 in 2013. And you say, well, that's a lot of houses. Well, 85% of these are apartment units. 85% are apartment units and 15% are single family homes. And of that number, of that 15%, 11% are manufactured homes. They're bringing those in by the truckloads. And only 4% are stick-built homes. What we're doing is stick-built homes. They've kind of put a moratorium on modular homes. There's been a ton of those brought in, and the city said, and the county said, no more modular homes, stick-built homes. And we're the only production builder up there that's doing stick-built homes. So it's a good play, as we're going to see. All right, this is another picture of Williston. That's what it used to look like back in the 50s. And by the way, back in the 50s, it had a population of 12, 13,000. And originally, it was founded by German and Norwegian immigrants, and they were farmers. And of course, there's a lot of farming going on up there, big farms up there. Back in the 50s, it had 7 Lutheran churches. It had a grain elevator and aging brick buildings downtown. That's what it looked like. All right, and this is what it looks like now. We got new buildings going in. We got new housing going in. Here's some apartments. Here's some construction going on. A stick-built home going in here. And so Williston tops the list of the nation's fastest growing small cities. Its population has doubled in the last 3.5 years. More than 1,000 multifamily apartment units are under construction right now. 1,000 units. To alleviate the congestion because of all the oil activity. There's now a bypass being built so the heavy trucks can be routed around the city. And anyway, it's a bustling place now. We got big stores like Home Depot scheduled to come in. Menards, if you're from the eastern part, Menards. By the way, that's a great store. I don't know. I went in my first Menards 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was back in South Dakota, and I tell you, it is a sight. Once you see Menards, I don't know if you ever go. It's kind of one-stop shopping. Menards. It's kind of like a Home Depot on steroids. Truly amazing. Anyway, there's new restaurants opening up. Fuddruckers, McDonald's, Hardee's. By the way, Hardee's is a great place to go in the mornings. Where I'm from in Portland, it seems like everybody goes to McDonald's. I say everybody. The retired folks kind of hang out at McDonald's first thing in the morning. Well, McDonald's in Williston is so busy that they don't hang out there. They go to Hardee's. We don't have any Hardee's out here on the West Coast. We got Carl's Jr., same thing, same company. And it seems like there's a community of old folks, 50, 60, 70 age people to go in for a cup of coffee. And anyway, a lot of new restaurants going in. And in fact, the restaurants are the busiest that they are in the United States. Williston fast food eateries include McDonald's. And you see this line of McDonald's? This line will go all the way around the building to the next street. That's how busy it is. I've been in this McDonald's when the line has gone all the way around to the other street, all the way around this building. You'll go inside and into the restaurant itself, and they're backed up 10 deep at each register. I mean, it's amazing. It takes a while to get your meal, and then you got to look for a place to sit down, and maybe you won't find a place. I mean, it's one of the busiest. In fact, it's been identified as the busiest McDonald's in the world. And it's a busy, busy place. In fact, it was so busy and people were hard to get that at one time I heard, I didn't actually see this, but it was reported to me that they actually closed the restaurant because they didn't have workers enough to take care of the people that would come in. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told. Subway's busy. Pizza Hut, by the way, they have a great lunch at Pizza Hut. They have a buffet. And man, they just one pizza after another, and it's jam packed for lunch. Domino Pizza, Taco John's, that's a good place to go. I used to go there on Sunday mornings where I didn't have to wait in line. I'd go do my laundry, and in that process, I would go Taco John's. Anyway, there's Hardee's, and anyway, Walmart is the busiest one of its kind in the world. Do you see the shot here of all these people lined up? That is not an exaggeration. People are packed in that store. I've seen this store so busy that they weren't even able to take their product out of boxes. The boxes were actually lined up in the aisleways because they didn't have time to get them from the box to the shelf. I've seen shelves more or less empty and boxes out there and people going through boxes. It's a truly an amazing place. And I already mentioned that people used to come up in their RVs. Here's an RV and here's a trailer, and they would come up and park and spend the night at Walmart. And they got so many of them that they actually had to. The city said no more of that. Anyway, busy, busy, busy. There's a new town, a Sand Creek Town Center coming in. It's a huge place, a 200-acre facility. It's a large master plan community with retail shopping and single and multifamily homes. In this thing, there's a nail salon coming, women's clothing boutique, jewelry store, high-end clothing store, coffee shop, and other retailers. Menards has signed a contract to be part of this thing. Anyway, lots of money coming in, lots of businesses opening, lots of people moving here. This is a growing place. And what that means is you have an opportunity. Those that understand what's going on in this area of the country has a tremendous opportunity. So you say, okay, Don, how can I profit? How can I participate in this thing? Well, Windsong Country Estates is a premier housing development of quality stick-built homes located just 6 minutes north of downtown Williston. It's close enough for shopping and schools, yet it's far enough away to enjoy a quiet and peaceful neighborhood. And in fact, this subdivision, Windsong subdivision, is a subdivision of 1 acre lots. And by purchasing a positive cash flow asset in Williston, it is a great way to increase your wealth because it's going to put money in your pocket every month. As we see as we go through the cash flow analysis, it's going to put money in your pocket every month, and it's going to create wealth over time. And if you like positive cash flow, you're going to like this. And it's a turnkey investment. This is a turnkey opportunity. We got management in place. We don't dictate a management company. We got 2 companies you can choose from. Actually, you can get anybody you want to. We've negotiated a reduced fee. The going rate for up there for property management is 10%. We've negotiated with 2 companies to go with 7%. But if you like a turnkey opportunity, if you like positive cash flow, you like building wealth, this is going to be a place for you. We've got financing in place. We've got 85% loan to value, which is a great thing for investors. We can also use your IRA. You could also use your IRA to buy a home in here. We've got non-recourse loans available. All right, let's look at the project. Williston Country Estates. Here's the city of Williston right here. And this is Highway 2 coming up through here. This is the main thoroughfare, the main artery that goes from Williston over to Minot. This is the main highway east and west out of town. And Williston Country Estates is just from here, from Williston itself to the edge of the property, where we turn is 2.5 miles. That's all it is. Turn left, and then we're right there off to the left. All right. Here's another view of it. Here's an aerial view. If you look at my cursor here, you'll see this is the highway, and this is our project right here. This is in 2013 when the subdivision was under construction. Here's another picture of it. Again, over here is that main artery in and out of Williston, east and west. And here's our subdivision under contract. This is the summer of 2013. It's 162 acres, and here's another shot of it. Here's a shop, a construction office, 2013, and this is another closer picture of it. This right here is a shop building, and we have a place for 40 workers to live on site. This has been approved by the county to house 40 of our workers. And then we've got a space over here for hookups for employees that want to bring a trailer or their RV or whatever. Mike Dolbeck, who is the lead developer in this thing, actually lives right here in the construction office. Construction office is a 7-bedroom house. It's got 4 bathrooms. It's a ranch-style home. It's a 2-level home, about 4,000 square feet, plus a huge garage, 1,500 square foot garage. And this is where management stays. The workers stay here. Management stays here when they're in town. And this is how it looked again in 2013. All right, this is what it looks like right now. We're ready to build 112 homes. It'll be a mix between residential and investment, and it'll be a nice mix, so the owners aren't going to get upset about there being too heavy of a concentration of investors. Anyway, it's going to be a good mix. They started selling to residential, and we're just now selling to. They started selling residential, and now we're selling to investors. I say residential to owner occupied, and we are in charge of getting investors in it. And this is what the project looks like with all the infrastructure in, water's in, power's in, everything's ready to go. This subdivision has been approved by the county to start building on. And as you see, you notice the beautiful trees in this picture. No, there aren't any trees in this picture, but that's just the way it looks up there. You see, it looks kind of barren, maybe. Well, that's just the way it looks. That's the way everything looks. All right, this is Mike Dolbeck. He's the builder developer. Mike and his partners have huge connections globally. They've done a lot of construction globally in other countries. Mike is the business operations manager. He developed and built thousands of multi and single family housing projects in the United States and internationally. He developed and built many commercial projects in the Northeast and the Northwest parts of the United States. He has 28 years of experience in manufacturing management and process development, both domestically and internationally. His focus is on developing and implementing and managing processes that really streamline the construction process and makes home building a very efficient thing. I mean, he's got this down to a science. And I've been in the construction business all my adult life. I started when I was 20, and I was general contractor. I built hundreds of homes on my own, and I had a nice system in place. But I'll tell you, Mike has me hands down. He has me beat hands down. Um, the construction project management team have been building homes in New England and the Carolinas and the northwest part of the United States for years. And Windsong Country Home Estates on-site construction team has built thousands of homes over the last 22 years, and they're part of what is called the Finished Construction Trade Group. And I got to tell you, the attention to detail and the attention to quality of construction sets our company, Windsong Country Estates, sets us apart from any other builder in the area. And I know I have boots on the ground there. I've been there. I've lived there. I know what's going on there. And he has a process down. We can build homes out in 60 to 90 days. From the time the lender says, okay, let's go, to the time we get done with the house, it can be as little as 60 days to 90 days. And that's a real rarity. It's not uncommon for it to take 2 years to build a single family home up there. And the reason is because of the shortage of trades. There's a shortage of plumbers, there's a shortage of heating guys, electricians, and roofers, and you name them. I have actually witnessed it taking 2 years to build a house. They just can't get subs. And Mike has put a team together that actually live on site. He's got he's got an exclusive contract with these guys in the state of North Dakota, and it's amazing what they can do. And when the weather gets cold and they can't do anything, when a lot of people can't do anything because of the weather, they've built a plant there where they can build inside the plant and just go up and erect the walls. Anyway, the Finnish Construction Trade Group is a close-knit group of workers whose families actually date back to Finland. And I just, let's go back here. Okay. There are many brethren or direct family members that work together on a large-scale project like ours. This family group has done construction work on tens of thousands of single-family homes. They've done work on many commercial projects throughout the United States. This is a group of highly skilled craftsmen, and they all work under the same umbrella for each stage of construction, which really ensures for us, those who own homes here, quality. So it's a good thing. And as I stated earlier, Mike has an exclusive with these guys for the state of North Dakota for any construction projects they can complete. Okay, what we're building is quality stick-built homes. Windsong Country Estate currently may be the only built rural housing development underway in Williams County. Like I said, they just recently put a building moratorium on modular homes. Here to your right is a picture of a modular home going in. These are virtually the same as a trailer house. In fact, the only difference between a mobile home and a modular home is the way it's constructed underneath and how it's attached. This is attached to the foundation. This is attached. This isn't attached. It's just got blocks underneath it. And they put a building moratorium on modular homes, and stick-built homes are now going up. And we're the only as far as I know, we're the only stick builder in the area that can do any kind of volume. All right, here's a plot of our subdivision. We've got lots for 112 homes, and some of these lots have already been sold, already been spoken for. And anyway, this is a picture of the completed project. All right, we've got 3 models available. We've got the Buchanan. That's what we're selling. And by the way, the only thing we sell is a turnkey product. Everything up there has a basement in it. As I go through this, you're going to see that it has a basement. That's very common. When my company first went up there, we built a model home without a basement. We did just a standard foundation, and when and we got ready to sell it. We almost couldn't sell it because people expect a basement. Anyway, the Buchanan is almost 3,000 square feet. The garage, in fact, the garage is the same size in all these homes, almost 900 square feet. Now, the typical two-car garage is like 20 by 20. 400 square feet is a typical two-car garage. 400 square feet. This is twice the size of a normal double-car garage. All right, bigger than that. But anyway, 3,000 square feet, 2 levels, has 6 bedrooms and 3 baths. By the way, we're the only ones that I know of that they're offering this product up there. A lot of people are offering a house and an unfinished basement, but most of the basements are not finished because there's not enough people up there to get it done. It would take forever. When we built up there, when my company built up there, what we did was we sold the house with an unfinished basement because we didn't have the manpower to get it finished because we wanted to go on to the next house. But anyway, these are all completely finished. Anyway, 6 bedrooms, 3 baths. The price is $489. There's a model called the Jewel. It is kind of like a split level. You walk in, you walk up to the main level, you walk down to the basement. 6 bedrooms, 2 baths. The price of it is $422,000 and change. The Johnson is almost 2,900 square feet on 3 levels. This has 3 levels. It's also got a 900 square foot garage almost. And to facilitate a nice looking subdivision, because we want something that looks nice. So when you get ready to sell your place and you're going to implement your exit strategy, you want to unload this house. We want the subdivision looking nice enough where people are going to want to live there. And as a result, the developer is going to choose your elevation. Each house has 3 or 4 elevations to it. You choose your floor plan. The developer chooses the lot. The developer chooses the elevation. And he does that because he doesn't want 2 of the same houses next to each other. He wants the elevation scattered throughout the home to give the area a nice look. All right. Standard features are all upgraded, and we do this in view of the fact that we want to have an exit strategy. We want to be able to have something desirable to sell. And so they have all stainless steel appliances, which is an upgrade, vaulted ceilings in the living room, self-cleaning, smooth top ovens, ranges, electric ranges, and of course, that's an upgrade. And in fact, as you go down through this list, you find a house full of upgraded items like the nickel fixtures for your doorknobs, for your hardware, your lighting fixtures. It has ceiling fans. It's got a 5-pound carpet pad, elongated toilets, garage door openers come with them. Anyway, a whole bunch of stuff. And as far as the exterior goes, it's 2x6 exterior walls. That's required up there. You have to have that because of the cold. Insulation value in R22 or actually R21 in the walls and R49 in the ceilings. That's a lot of insulation, folks. But you got to have it. Have a fiberglass front door as opposed to a steel door. Fiberglass is more expensive, but it's a better product. It doesn't ding. I mean, it's just as a builder, that's all I ever used was fiberglass. I got a 30-year architectural roof on it. It even comes with gutters and downspouts. A lot of homes don't include the gutters and downspouts. Ours does. These are really quality homes with all the features that you would expect in a quality home. So that's a good thing. The 3 models include. Let's just go down this because this is really configured for the investor. Okay, what we're doing is for the investor. 6 bedrooms in either 3 or 4 bathrooms. 3-car garage. There's extra parking. There's extra parking pad. In case you want just extra parking pad. They all have air conditioning, forced air heat. They all have a patio, 10 by either a patio or a deck, 10 by 12. Oversized septic system because we got bedrooms here that that might be all filled. And so if you fill up all the bedrooms, you want to make sure you have an oversized septic system so they can handle that usage. They all come with washer and dryers. We seed after construction is completed. We rough grade the around the construction site, and then we seed it with natural seed. It doesn't come with landscaping per se, but we seed it naturally, which is very common up there. You have membership to the Williams Rural Water District. That's where the water comes from. And we've also included in this package 4 years worth of membership dues for the Windsong Country Estate Homeowner Association. Now, the purpose of that is snow removal and road maintenance. And so 4 years of that is included. It's not much. I think it's $50 a year, $60 a year, something like that. But we included 4 years of that up there. So the first 4 years, there's no cost to the investor. We have separate, and this is just for our investors, because I demanded when we planned this, I said we got to have an outside interest to the basements, because if I'm living upstairs and I want to rent out the bedrooms downstairs, I don't want the guys walking through my house to get to the basement. And so all these plans include outside entrance to the basement. The garage expands from 24 foot deep to 28 foot to make room for that. There's a rear or side entry door out of the garage, so we've got a concrete pad out of there. It's got separate electrical plugs for 3 vehicles. And you say, well, why you do that? Because when it gets cold up there, you need to plug in your car. They have heaters that plug into the car to keep the engine warm, to keep the oil warm, keep the water from freezing. And by the way, I was up there when it was 40 below, and I had my car plugged in. That's 40 below 0 Fahrenheit, and I kept my car plugged in. They all include a wet bar. And you see why you have a wet bar down there? Well, because if you've got people living down there, you want to make sure they can, they have a sink and all that kind of thing. We also have a full-size refrigerator down there, a microwave oven, all that built in, so that all comes with a standard package. And the time to build a home is about 90 days. They think they can do it in 60, but we're telling you 90. All right, let's look at cash flow analysis. And we're going to look at the Buchanan, and then let's look at the purchase price. $438,952. 15% down payment if you want to go that way. And all these are comparable, just a few dollars apart in the 3 models. Finance, the amount financed is $371 or $373. Closing costs. If you use our recommended lender, Mike will credit you 2% for using the preferred lender. You can use anybody you want to, but if you use ours, he'll credit you 2% of the purchase price for your closing costs. That's acceptable to the lender, and so that will reduce your closing costs. So your final closing costs will be about $4,400. Okay, and we're projecting rental income of about $5,000 a month. The range we got when we were doing our due diligence, we talked to some property managers, and they thought we could get between $5,000 and $6,000 a month on these houses. And so we're using the lower number of the two. All right. Mortgage payment is almost $2,100 a month. Right now we can get 30-year fixed rate at 5.37, and you see the APR right there. Property management fee 7%. That's $350 a month. Do you have to use a property management fee? Or do you have to use a property management company? No, but I would recommend it. Property taxes about $300 a month, $310 a month. PMI, that's $212 a month. Now, the PMI is only because we've got 15% down instead of 20. If you put an extra 5% down, then you can eliminate that $200 a month. But we did want to factor it in there. Insurance about $75 a month. Maintenance, I'm not sure you're going to have any maintenance. It's a brand new house, and if you have any issues, Any warranty issues will be taken care of in the first year. Um, but we wanted to plug something in for maintenance. Vacancy allowances, I don't think you're going to have any vacancies. I think before the house gets finished, you're going to have at least, but we wanted to assume something for that. So I figured 5%. That's kind of a nice rule of thumb. That's probably what the other lender will figure. Positive cash flow a month is about $1,700 a month. Do you think that's positive cash flow after your expenses, after you pay everything out? You'll pocket about $1,700 a month, or annually about $20,000 a year. That's a pretty good return on investment, as we're going to see. Okay, let's look at the debt service. Annual debt service $25,000 minus your interest means that you have a principal reduction of $5,000, $5,100 that first year. All right. So let's look down here. Net operating income is $45,300 less your interest is almost $20,000. Less the depreciation. You can depreciate that Hummer out at approximately tune of $14,366. So your total taxable income for that thing is going to be about $11,000. And if you're in the 33% tax bracket, that's an assumption we make. The total taxes you're going to have to pay is $3,600 more or less. All right. We factored in appreciation of 4%. Appreciation is really somewhere closer to 10 to 12%. That's what it was last year. 10 to 12% last year. I don't remember the exact number. But we wanted to be very conservative on this, so we factored in an appreciation rate of 4%. So total appreciation, $17,000. Okay. Now, of course, these are estimates and built on assumptions, and they change depending on how much money you put down and all that kind of thing. So anyway, what we really want to highlight here is we do have 85% loans here. If you get an 85% loan, if you only put 15% down, there is PMI involved to the tune of where did it go? PMI $212 a month. So if you came in with 5% more down, the positive cash flow a month would be almost $1,900 a month, almost $2,000 a month positive cash flow. If you bought two of them, almost $4,000 a month. So that's as far as the cash flow thing goes, it's a great thing. The return on investment. This is a tremendous opportunity here. If we figure 4% appreciation, your return on your cash investment is 56%. And how do we figure that? Well, it's cash flow before taxes plus your principal reduction minus the tax paid plus your appreciation. Will give you a 39.3, and your cash invested is 70,000. All right. Your return on investment without appreciation is 31%, and cash on cash is 29%. Cap rate is 10 on the Buchanan. Note that the resale value of the Buchanan will usually run 3 to 5% higher than the Jewel model, which you're going to see in a minute. Now, notice the disclaimer down here at the bottom. There are a number of assumptions that were made on this analysis, and on the previous page of the cash flow thing. These numbers are believed to be accurate. They were calculated based on assumptions that we made, and I tried to highlight them for you, but they're not guaranteed, so please understand that. Market factors do change. Interest rates change, rents change, appreciation changes. In fact, the appreciation could be higher, it could be lower, but anyway, that's based on assumptions that we have today. The best information we have today. What I presented to you is pretty good. Now on the Jewel, this is another model we have. This one is priced out at a 422, and all the other stuff is pretty close to the same. And on the return on investment, the cap rate on the Jewel is 11%. Cash on cash return is 31%, with no calculated with no appreciation. Return is about 33% total, and with 4% appreciation, your return on investment is like 58%. So that's a pretty good thing. We have a model called a Johnson. This is a 3-story one. It's got 2 stories and a basement, 3 different levels. And purchase price on this is $438, and all the other things are pretty close to the same. Appreciation 4%. We've got positive cash flow, a little over $20,000 a year, or almost $1,700 a month. And the ROI, the return on investment here, is 29%. So 29-30% for the return on investment is good. Cap rate's 10%, and you can look at the other numbers there. This is a pretty good opportunity. But you can also use your IRA. You can use your IRA to increase your wealth even further. Some financial planners recommend withdrawing 5% of your retirement portfolio each month. This way, a retiree is less likely to outlive their income. For example, if you got $400,000 in an IRA, you take out 5% or $20,000 a year, or $1,600 a month. But if you buy 2 Winsong Country Estates, Winsong Country Estate homes at $450 each, with a portion of your IRA, in other words, you finance that, and based on a monthly a gross rent of $5,000 a month, and by the time you figure your debt service, your insurance, your property management fees, you end up with a net monthly passive income of about $2,300 a month. That's $4,600 net monthly income on 2 homes. That sounds a lot better than $1,600, doesn't it? $1,700 a month. Now, of course, this does take 40% down. This is how it all works out here. $450,000 home with a 40% down payment out of your IRA, and then we got a 60% non-recourse loan, and it will net you $2,300 a month. And remember that these things are going to appreciate, hopefully. And again, a number of assumptions have been made in this example, so the results may vary from what's presented here, and all figures are approximate. All right. If you have any questions about that, consult with your CPA, consult with your tax advisor before you actually get involved in this. Do your due diligence. All right. If you use a lease option, it might be a good thing for you if you're into lease options, because this market is really a great thing for a lease option. Because there's a lot of workers up there making over $100,000 a year who have just moved into the area who can't meet the bank's requirement to get a loan right now. And there's a couple of reasons for that. They just changed fields. Maybe they had some kind of, I don't know, maybe they worked got laid off at a sawmill or a plant somewhere. And now they're coming up here working in the oil fields. It's a whole different field, and so they're going to have to be acclimated to that, that's a bad word. They have to have some time on the job before the bank is going to recognize them as being a worthy credit risk. And a lot of kids have had some credit dings because of the economy. They've been late on some payments, and so they just need some time to get all squared away. They could put 10 or 15,000 down in the form of option consideration, non-refundable option consideration. They can give you that to move in and lease the place from you, but they just can't qualify for a loan. And so what you can do is provide them a way to purchase a home when they have no other way, when a bank won't give them a loan. And the lease option strategy significantly increases your rate of return on the money that you invest in the home, because you can, in addition to getting a higher rent than normal, you can also get 10 or 15,000 down in non-refundable option consideration, or maybe even more, depending on what you can negotiate. And the tenant buyer is going to take better, theoretically, will take better care of your home because he's a buyer. He's buying your house. So mentally, he's geared as a buyer. All right. So you have a lease contract, you have a standalone option agreement, and that's what you do. And this is how it would work. This is just an example, and these things could vary. But let's assume, for the sake of example, that we're purchasing a jewel. The purchase price is $434,725. After closing, actually, yeah, after you close your construction loan, you market your house for sale to a lease option buyer. But during the course of construction, you put your property management company in place. They start advertising for a lease option buyer, okay, a tenant buyer, who signs a 1 or 2 year lease option to purchase your house. All right. So what have you accomplished? Well, hopefully you've accomplished, you got somebody that's going to be in your house for the next year or two. And at the end of a year or two, they are going to purchase your home, and you will gain a profit off the purchase. That's what the goal is. You sell the home at the end of the option period to a tenant buyer for the current home plus appreciation. Let's say 5% a year. We assume 4%, but let's say for the sake of this, we're going to say 5%. That's an extra $6,000. All right. So at the end of 1 year, if you add 5% on, you're going to sell that for $462 $462,000. All right. So that'll give you almost $30,000, $6,000 a year on that. At the end of year, if they want to hold on for the second year, you're going to sell at the end of year 2 in this example at $491,000. All right. So what this means is that you have a locked-in profit in this thing. You already know how much money you're going to make. And don't forget, you're going to get $10,000 to $15,000 in option consideration. The tenant buyer makes the option payment to you, and he signs a lease agreement, the lease option agreements, plural, and the option payment is non-refundable to you. And I mean, they can't get it back. They can't get it back, and it might even qualify for tax deferred. You might want to check with your tax advisor, because it's probably tax deferred, meaning you don't pay taxes until the option is exercised or vacated. All right, so the tenant buyer makes a $6,000 monthly lease payment and has the right to sublet it. If the payment is made by the 5th of each month, let's say for $500 that month will be credited toward his final sales price. Okay. Note that in example 3, in the previous page, we added $6,000 to the price. And what we did is we took $500 times 12 months to the sales price, and then we added that. So it's a wash. So it didn't cost you anything because you said, I'm going to get this much, and then you added on an extra $1,000 or $6,000 where you gave it back to them. By the way, if you have any questions about this, feel free to give me a call and talk to me. I've done a lot of these, and I even wrote a book on it. You can find it at Amazon.com. And anyway, it's a good thing. Under a lease option agreement, you'll receive approximately $22,000 to $27,000 in additional cash flow the first year. That's the first year. All right. So it's a good thing. Lease option strategy significantly increases your rate of return. And please note that this is just an example. It's just an example of what can be done, and you can do whatever you want to with it. You can structure it however you want, but if you want to talk to me about that, just feel free to do that. You say, well, why would a tenant want a lease option? Well, most tenant buyers have credit issues. I'll be quite frank with you. If they didn't have credit issues, they wouldn't need to do this. But you're providing them basically a form of owner financing, not specifically, but in a broad manner of speaking. And a lease option agreement gives them a chance to repair the credit while they're executing a plan to purchase a home. In many cases, number two, in many cases it gives a tenant buyer time to get established in the area in their new job. It also gives them time to save up for their down payment. If they have to come up with more down payment, then then it gives them a chance to do that. And if you credit them $500 a month for every time, oh, by the way, I didn't say this, and this is a very important issue. You credit them $500 a month if they pay you within 5 days of their due date. Now, the lease agreement says 10 days. They have 10 days grace period. But on the option consideration page, it says you can say 5 days. If they pay you within 5 days, then you will credit them $500. And the reason you do that is because you want your money, right? You don't want to have you don't have to be chasing people for the monthly rent. And by the way, when I started using this strategy in my own stuff, it eliminated a lot of problems of being a landlord. But anyway, all right, it gives them a chance to build a down payment. And so if you're giving them $500 a month, that could be $6,000 a year. But that, to me, for that first year, it could be $6,000 toward their down payment. Plus, they've already paid you 10 to 15,000, so that'd be 20 some odd $1,000 towards their down payment already. So it gives them time to do that. The tenant buyer gets instant occupancy. He doesn't have to wait 30 days or 60 days to get a loan closed. They just exercise their option. They inform you that they're exercising their option. They go ahead and get a loan. They pay you off. They already live there. All right. Oh, let me go back. Didn't get finished with that. The tenant buyer knows what the purchase price is going to be. That's another reason he'll do it. So it's already in black and white. And you say, well, what if it really takes off and there's a 30% appreciation? Well, this is just an example. I'm suggesting this. One way I've dealt with soaring inflation in places is in places that I've done business like this. The option document simply stated that at the end of the option period, an appraisal would be done, paid for by the tenant buyer, and that would establish the purchase price. And so that's another way to do it. If you're gambling on more appreciation than the 5%, you think it might be 10%, you might want to opt to do that. Number 6, the tenant buyer will realize any appreciation over the stipulated purchase price. So that's a reason for him to do that. It's always been my philosophy to leave a little money on the table for other people. You're going to do well, let other people do well, and everybody wins. All right. So what are the steps of purchasing a home? You say, okay, Don, I want to purchase a home, or at least I'm thinking about purchasing a home. Well, this is what you do. This is the steps, 10 steps. You complete the reservation form. We have a reservation form for you. It says that you're reserving that. It specifically says that it is not a purchase agreement. It's just a reservation form. You can do your due diligence. You can have anything that you want done as far as due diligence. An appraisal is done when you order, when you go forward. Well, let's just back up. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We'll collect $6,000 from you. It'll be fully refundable. It'll be placed in escrow with a title company, and it's refundable up until the time you accept the home appraisal report. So that'll give you 30 days, 45 days, whatever it is, to do your due diligence and make sure what we say is accurate. Once the appraisal comes back and you say, okay, let's go forward with this, then at that point you will sign a purchase agreement / construction document. It's one document. You look that over. If that looks agreeable to you, you sign that and you contact a lender. You apply for a construction loan and a long-term loan. We got lenders that it's a one-stop shop. You don't pay 2 fees. You don't pay a construction fee plus a long-term fee. You just pay 1 fee. You get the construction loan and long-term. If you use our lender, can't guarantee what anybody else will do. The lender will order an appraisal, and just to reiterate this, if you use one of our approved lenders, the owner here will contribute 2% of the purchase price towards your closing costs because he wants you to use his lender. And you say, well, why is that? Well, because it just makes it easier on us. I built, as a general contractor, I've built hundreds of homes, and I can tell you that it's so much easier doing business with people you know. It just makes it easy on everybody because you talk the same language and expectations are met, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so you contact the lender. The contractor provides all the documents that's required for the lender. He submits those. Um, and then you review and accept the appraisal value. Um, you say, okay, this is good, and you deposit the amount. The deposit amount is released at that point. It's released to the builder and supplied towards your purchase price. Then the construction begins. County building inspectors, after the permit is obtained, building inspectors come around periodically and review the course of construction and all that kind of just standard procedure. And during that process, you will be emailed pictures of your home being built, so you can see what's going on. The project manager will take pictures of it when they review the work. They'll send you pictures of it, so you'll have that. During that process, or during the construction process, or after you apply for your loan, you'll secure a property manager. You'll select, if you can select one or two, one of two that we've made arrangements with. You can use your own, but your property manager is responsible for finding and screening a tenant for your home. The construction of your home is complete, and the final building inspection is made, and Williston Country Estates provides you with a certificate of occupancy issued by, it says the city of Williston, it's actually the county of Williams County offers it, presents that to you. Then you close escrow. All right. When it's completed, you close, you take possession of your home, you have a lease that's signed, and your tenant moves in, and that's the process. I know this has been kind of a long thing, and you probably have some questions, and you'll need some more information. What I would suggest you do, if you're interested in this, and I think you ought to be, you give me a call here. You see my number, 503-707-9195, or you can email me at Don at Bacon Team. Bacon Team, and I'll be happy to answer anything for you. And anyway, I want to take a minute and thank you for stopping by and visiting us, and hopefully we've given you information to get you thinking. And I hope you'll do business with us, and please let me know how we can help make that possible. I want to thank you for coming by. Thanks.